Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajak Ashtadasata A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, all glorious to assembled devotees, all glorious to assembled devotees, all glorious to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we're reading from chapter 24, Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the 9th canto. This is the last chapter in this canto. The chapter is entitled Krishna, the Supreme Person of Godhead. So what we'll do is we will read the summary and then go through the English translation of verses till we reach verse 34. And we'll read the Sanskrit together there and then we'll discuss that verse. Vidarbha had 3 sons named Kusha, Kratha and Romapada. Of these 3, Rompad expanded his dynasty by the sons and grandsons named Babhru, Kriti, Ushika, Chedi and Chaidya, all of whom later became kings. From the son of Vidarbha named Kratha came a son named Kunti, from whose dynasty came the descendants named Vrishni, Nivritti, Dashara, Vyoma, Jimuta, Vikriti, Bhimaratha, Navaratha, Dasharatha, Shakuni, Karambhi, Devarata, Devakshatra, Madhu, Kuruvasha, Anu, Puruhotra, Ayu, and Satvata. Satvata had 7 sons. One of them was Deva Vridha, whose son was Babhru. Another son of Satvata was Mahabhoja, by whom the Bhoja dynasty was inaugurated. Another was Vrishni, who had a son named Yudhajit. From Yudhajit came Anamitra and Shini, and from Anamitra came Nigna and another Shini. The descendants in succession from Shini were Satyaka, Yudhana, Jaya, Kuni, and Yugandhara. Another son of Anamitra was Vrishni. From Vrishni came Swafalka, by whom Akrura and 12 other sons were generated. From Akrura came 2 sons named Devavan and Upadeva. The son of Andhaka named Kukura was the origin of the descendants known as Vahani, Viloma, Kapotaroma, Anu, Andhaka, Dundubhi, Avidyota, Punarvasu, and Ahuka. Ahuka had 2 sons named Devaka and Ugrasena. The 4 sons of Devaka were known as Devavan, Upadeva, Sudeva, and Devavardhana. And the 7 daughters were Dhritadeva, Shantideva, Upadeva, Srideva, Devarakshita, Sahadeva, and Devaki. Vasudeva married all 7 daughters of Devaka. Ugrasena had 9 sons named Kamsa, Shunama, Nyagrodha, Kanka, Shanku, Suhu, Rashtrapala, Drishti, and Tushtiman. And he had 5 daughters named Kamsa, Kamsavati, Kanka, Surabhu, and Rashtrapalika. The younger brothers of Vasudeva married all the daughters of Ugrasena. Viduratha, the son of Chitraratha, had a son named Sura, who had 10 other sons, of whom Vasudeva was the chief. Sura gave one of his 5 daughters, Pritha, to his friend Kunti, and therefore she was also named Kunti. In her maiden state, she gave birth to a child named Karna, and later she married Maharaj Pandu. Vriddhashrama married the daughter of Sura named Shrutadeva, from whose womb Dantavakra was born. Drishtaketu married Sura's daughter named Shrutakirti, who had 5 sons. Jayasena married Sura's daughter named Rajadhidevi. The king of Chedidesha, Damaghosha, married the daughter of Sura named Shutasrava, from whom Shishupala was born. Devabhaga, through the womb of Kamsa, begot Chitraketu and Brihadbala, and Devashrava, through the womb of Kamsavati, begot Suvira and Ishuman. From Kanka, through the womb of Kanka, came Baka, Satyajit, and Purujit. And from Srinjaya, through the womb of Rashtrapalika, came Vrisha and Durmarshana. Syamaka, through the womb of Surabhumi, begot Harikesha and Hiranyaksha. Vatsaka, through the womb of Mishrakeshi, begot Vrika, who begot the sons named Taksha, Pushkara, and Shala. From Samika came Sumitra and Arjunapala, and from Anaka came Ritadhama and Jaya. Vasudeva had many wives, of whom Devaki and Rohini were the most important. From the womb of Rohini, Baladeva was born, along with Gada, Sarana, Durmada, Vipula, Dhruva, Krita, and others. Vasudeva had many other sons by his other wives, and the 8th son to appear from the womb of Devaki was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who delivered the entire world from the burden of demons. This chapter ends by glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Shri Shukavacha. So we'll read the English, the translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, by the womb of the girl brought by his father, Vidarbha begot 3 sons named Kusha, Kratha, and Romapada. Romapada was the favorite in the dynasty of Vidarbha. The son of Romapada was Babhru, from whom there came a son named Kriti. The son of Kriti was Ushika, and the son of Ushika was Chedi. From Chedi was born the king known as Chaidya and others. The son of Kratha was Kunti, the son of Kunti Vrishni, the son of Vrishni Nivritti, and the son of Nivritti Dashara. From Dashara came Vyoma, from Vyoma came Jimuta, from Jimuta Vikriti, from Vikriti Bhimaratha, from Bhimaratha Navaratha, and from Navaratha Dasharatha. From Dasharatha came a son named Shakuni, and from Shakuni a son named Karambhi. The son of Karambhi was Devarata, and his son was Devakshatra. The son of Devakshatra was Madhu, and his son was Kuru Vasha, from whom there came a son named Anu. The son of Anu was Puruhotra, the son of Puruhotra was Ayu, and the son of Ayu was Satvata. O great Aryan king, Satvata had 7 sons named Bhajamana, Bhaji, Divya, Vrishni, Devavradha, Andhaka, and Mahabhoja. From Bhajamana by one wife came 3 sons, Nimlochi, Kinkana, and Drishti. And from his other wife came 3 other sons, Satajit, Sahasrajit, and Ayutyajit. The son of Devavradha was Babhru. Concerning Devavradha and Babhru, there are two famous songs of prayer which were sung by our predecessors and which we have heard from a distance. Even now, I hear the same prayers about their qualities because that which was heard before is still sung continuously. It has been decided that among human beings, Babhru is the best and that Devavruta is equal to the demigods. Because of the association of Babhru and Devavruta, all of the descendants numbering 14,065 achieved liberation. In the dynasty of King Mahabhoja, who was exceedingly religious, there appeared the Bhoja kings. O King Maharaj Parikshit, who can suppress your enemies, the sons of Vrishni were Sumitra and Yudhajit. From Yudhajit came Shini and Anamitra, and from Anamitra came a son named Nighna. The two sons of Nighna were Satrajit and Prasena. Another son of Anamitra was another Shini, and his son was Satyaka. The son of Satyaka was Yudhana, whose son was Jaya. From Jaya came a son named Kuni, and from Kuni a son named Yugandhara. Another son of Anamitra was Vrishni. From Vrishni came the sons named Swafalka and Chitraratha. From Swafalka by his wife Gandhini came Akrura. Akrura was the eldest, but there were 12 other sons, all of whom were most celebrated. The names of these 12 were Asanga, Sarameya, Mridura, Mriduvit, Giri, Dharmavridha, Sukarma, Kshatropeksha, Arimardana, Shatrughna, Gandhamadha, and Pratibahu. These brothers also had a sister named Suchara. From Akrura came two sons named Devavan and Upadeva. Chitraratha had many sons headed by Prithu and Viduratha, all of whom were known as belonging to the dynasty of Vrishni. Kukura, Bhajamana, Shuchi, and Kambala Barhisa were the four sons of Andhaka. The son of Kukura was Vahani, and his son was Viloma. The son of Viloma was Kapotaroma, and his son was Anu, whose friend was Tumburu. From Anu came Andhaka, from Andhaka Dundubhi, and from Dundubhi Avidyota. From Avidyota came a son named Punarvasu. Punarvasu had a son and a daughter named Ahuka and Ahuki respectively. And Ahuka had two sons named Devaka and Ugrasena. Devaka had four sons named Devavan, Upadeva, Sudeva, and Devavardhana. And he also had 7 daughters named Shantideva, Upadeva, Srideva, Devarakshita, Sahadeva, Devaki, and Dhritadeva. Dhritadeva was the eldest. Vasudeva, the father of Krishna, married all these sisters. Kamsa, Sunama, Nyagrodha, Kanka, Shanku, Suhu, Rashtrapala, Drishti, and Tushtiman were the sons of Ugrasena. Kamsa, Kamsavati, Kanka, Surabhu, and Rashtrapalika were the daughters of Ugrasena. They became the wives of Vasudeva's younger brothers. The son of Chitraratha was Viduratha, and the son of Viduratha was Sura, and his son was Bhajamana. The son of Bhajamana was Shini, the son of Shini was Bhoja, and the son of Bhoja was Hridika. The 3 sons of Hridika were Devamidha, Shatadhanu, and Kritavarma. The son of Devamidha was Sura, whose wife was named Marisha. Through Marisha, King Sura begot Vasudeva, Devabhaga, Devashrava, Anaka, Srinjaya, Shyamaka, Kanka, Samika, Vatsaka, and Vrika. These 10 sons were spotlessly pious personalities. When Vasudeva was born, The demigods from the heavenly kingdom sounded kettle drums. Therefore, Vasudeva, who provided the proper place for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was also known as Anaka Dundubhi. The 5 daughters of King Sura, named Pritha, Shrutadeva, Shrutakirti, Shrutashrava, and Rajadhi Devi, were Vasudeva's sisters. Sura gave Pritha to his friend Kunti, who had no issue, and therefore another name of Pritha was Kunti. Once, when Durvasa was a guest at the house of Pritha's father Kunti, Pritha satisfied Durvasa by rendering service. Therefore, she received a mystic power by which she could call any demigod. To examine the potency of this mystic power, the pious Kunti immediately called for the sun god. As soon as Kunti called for the demigod of the sun, he immediately appeared before her, and she was very much surprised. She told the sun god, I was simply examining the effectiveness of this mystic power. I am sorry, I have called you unnecessarily. Please return and excuse me. So we'll read the text 34 Sanskrit. Amogham deva sandarsham adadhe tvai chatmajam yoniryatha na dushyeta kartaham te sumadhyame. Amogham, without failure. Deva Sandarsham, meeting with the demigods. Adadhe, I shall give my semen. Tvai, unto you. Cha, also. Atmajam, a son. Yoni, the source of birth. Yatha, as. Na, not. Dushyeta, becomes polluted. Karta, shall arrange. Aham, I. Te, unto you. Sumadhyame, O beautiful girl. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The sun god said, O beautiful Pritha, your meeting with the demigods cannot be fruitless. Therefore, let me place my seed in your womb so that you may bear a son. I shall arrange to keep your virginity intact since you are still an unmarried girl. Purport. According to Vedic civilization, if a girl gives birth to a child before she is married, no one will marry her. Therefore, although the sun god, after appearing before Pritha, wanted to give her a child, Pritha hesitated because she was still unmarried. To keep her virginity undisturbed, the sun god arranged to give her a child that came from her ear, and therefore the child was known as Karna. The custom is that a girl should be married Akshata Yoni, that is, with her virginity undisturbed. A girl should never bear a child before her marriage. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So before we speak on this Srimad Bhagavatam, I would like to take blessings of all the assembled senior Vaishnavas here. So we are in the 9th chapter, the 9th canto, the last chapter, and we're approaching the 10th canto, which is discusses about the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. And as we know, the Srimad Bhagavatam is like having the Lord's darshan, the deity form, studying the lotus feet. We go up and gradually approach the Lord's lotus face. So the 10th canto we're approaching, and that is like having darshan of the Lord's lotus face. So the Bhagavatam is auspicious, but the most auspicious part is the 10th canto, which we will be reading after this chapter. Now, if you see in all these verses, we are hearing about the lineage of the Vrishni dynasty, and even the chapter before this, it ended, we saw the lineage, so it continues. So one may wonder why there are so many kings being described here. And if you see here, there are so many glorious kings which have been ruling over this planet Earth. And the Bhagavatam only touches upon the important ones, or the specific ones, so that it gives us instructions. But it's important to know that there are so many kings who are glorious, and they had a glorious life from which we can derive inspiration and lessons. In this specific verse, we are hearing about the birth of Karna. And I would like to touch upon two topics in this discussion. One is about the topic about Varnashram Dharma, which ensured that society went through the 4 ashramas and the 4 varnas for the nice conducting of spiritual life as well as material life. For example, here we are seeing that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport about a girl should not get birth to a child before her marriage. And this was arranged as a part of Varnashram Dharma. And Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnya Maya Srishtam, that this Varnashram is actually sanctioned by me. It is not created by somebody's convenience or somebody's whimsical ideas, but it is arranged by the Lord Himself so that society can progress both materially and spiritually. Sometime back, actually we were hearing a class by His Holiness the Amrit Swami, and one person asked that, Maharaj, the 4 regulative principles that you mentioned is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. 3 of them make sense to me. The 4th one doesn't make sense to me. And then Maharaj asked, I don't know how the numbering is. When you say number 4, which one is the number 4? Then she clarified that no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication. Those made, even intuitive sense, common sense. Yeah, it is good for one's material and spiritual well-being. But what about no illicit sex? How does that make sense? How does that disturb a person's material and spiritual life? So that was the question. Now, such a question comes, and of course Maharaj gave a satisfying answer. But what is to be understood here is that these questions come because society in the Vedic civilization was centered around God. And hence all these values made sense because they had a basis of Krishna consciousness or spiritual basis. Without God, if you remove God from the equation, then all the moral values, they become subjective. They become relative. They start depending on context. Oh, in this time and place, this one doesn't make sense. And people start having their own speculations and their own ideas and the concept of sense control and self-restraint goes away. And people start thinking that whatever I feel like, there's a freedom of expression, freedom of action, and hence the whole world basically is being led by individual whims and individual demands. So without God, moral values do not make sense because those are being driven by individuals. But when we keep God in the picture, then the whole concept of Varnashram makes sense, that how the Varnas were required for society's functioning and the ashramas were required for giving shelter to all people. Elderly, children, young men and women, everyone got shelter as a part of the Varna and ashram system. So this is something to be understood, that once Varnashrama comes in place, then naturally all other systems come in place. In fact, when I grew up in India, in education, we had our regular studies like biology, physics, chemistry, which is for material education, so that we get some skills to earn a livelihood. In addition to that, some schools had something called moral values, a moral subject. But there was no topic around God. It was just basic morals. So even that is better. So we need the 3 educations. One is education to give you the skill so that you can earn a living, education to give you moral values, and education about the science of the soul, so that these moral values make sense in connection with Krishna, in connection with God in the center. The second topic I wanted to touch upon was about Karna. Now, again, Karna is a special character, is a special personality from the Mahabharata. And we find in Srimad Bhagavatam, his name comes here for the first time. And in India especially, Karna has, the name Karna, his personality invokes multiple feelings. There are a lot of people who have a lot of sympathy towards Karna. In fact, I come from Maharashtra, Mumbai. So there is a book published in the Marathi language called Mrityunjaya. And that book actually tries to portray Karna as the hero of Mahabharata. And actually, it tries to even condemn the Pandavas, condemn Krishna, condemn whole dharmic principles. And this book became so popular that when we go for distributing Bhagavad Gita, then people ask, oh, do you have the book Mrityunjaya also, along with Bhagavad Gita? So people kind of relate that as a spiritual book. But actually it is a pseudo-spiritual book which builds upon the characters of Mahabharata, but it portrays by the author's imagination of what was the personality of Karna and Krishna and the Pandavas. So especially if in India, if you preach to Indians, and if you say anything against Karna, it becomes a very touchy topic. So it's important to understand what does the author of Mahabharata, Srila Vyasadeva, what does he speak about Karna? Now, Karna obviously had a number of great qualities which are appreciated by Srila Vyasadeva himself in the Mahabharata. For example, he was very charitable. In fact, he used to give charity to the Brahmanas regularly, and Indra, who is the father of Arjuna, he actually came disguised as a Brahmana, and he asked Karna in charity the Kavacha Kundala, which was for his protection. So Indra wanted to ensure that in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Karna should lose and Arjuna should win. So to make that happen, he comes as a Brahmana, and he knows that Karna will never refuse charity to a Brahmana. So then he asks for charity, and then he gets the Kavacha Kundala, which was very powerful, and Karna was invincible with those, what he had, the Kavacha Kundala. So that's one example of Karna's quality of charity. Another quality of Karna was that he was an expert archer. And even though he was born from Kunti, who was a Kshatriya, so he has the Kshatriya qualities, but he was grown or raised in the family of a Suta or a Vaishya. So he was kind of like, in a confused state. He had the quality of a Kshatriya, but he has the upbringing or the family association of a Vaishya. So he was not accepted by the teachers of the royal order. And hence he had to learn this archery, his science of outside. He couldn't get teachings from Dronacharya. And still he learns that, and he becomes expert and equal to Arjuna. So that is greatness. So he was very talented. So great talent, good charity. So these were some of the good qualities of Karna, and these are applauded by Vyasadeva in the Mahabharata. However, as devotees or spiritual practitioners, we need to take some lessons from Karna's life as to what he had, what we should not cultivate. And those are, Karna was very proud and arrogant because of his talent. And an example of that is that when we find that Krishna comes to Hastinapur with the peace message that to stop war, that to avoid war, in the palace of Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, Karna was one of the persons who suggested that please arrest Krishna, kill him, and then once you kill him, then the whole battle is over. You win. So that was Karna's arrogance and pride, and that was his idea. That if you arrest Krishna and if you kill him, then you will find that you can win the war. So that was foolishness out of his pride and arrogance. And of course we see that when Arjuna sees then Krishna of course shows the Virat Roop, like a trailer, that this is what I am. He shows all the demigods, all the Maruts and everything. And then still out of foolishness, they are ordering the people to go and catch the demigods, catch everyone. And this is again, we find the difference between demonic mentality and devotee mentality. When Arjuna sees the Virat Roop, he is with folded hands, he chants prayers. And when Karna and the other demoniac people, they see Virat Roop, they are trying to arrest even the Virat Roop. That was their foolishness. Then after that, Karna's one more quality which we should not cultivate is that he was in the association of sinful people like Duryodhana. He also became sinful. And we understand that how during the episode of disrobing Draupadi, Karna was the one actually who insulted her in public, and he called her a prostitute, he called her names, and he was the one actually who was responsible for insulting Draupadi along with the Duryodhana and other people in the assembly. So this is again that how even though he was born with some qualities, because of association with Duryodhana, he also got into that line, and hence we should avoid bad association. The third point about Karna to be avoided is about that Karna was trying to blame everyone for his situation. He said, okay, even though I am a Kshatriya, I am the son of Kunti, but I am being outcast, I am being called as a Sutaputra, Nobody's giving me training. Nobody's giving me the respect that I deserve. So he was always blaming the world and the circumstances for his situation. And with that attitude, we understand that one cannot go a long way, neither in material life nor in spiritual life. In fact, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, here in the 10th canto, Brahmaji explains that Tatte anukampam susamikshamano bhunjanam eva kritam vipakam. That a person has to accept whatever comes in his or her life as that I have cooked it, so I have to eat it. It's like, evam swakritam. So I have only done, it is my own doings. And whatever I am experiencing in this life is basically my own earnings, which I have cooked or which I have earned in my previous lives. So with this attitude, a devotee accepts all the reversals and the difficulties that comes upon him or her. And then this person becomes eligible for the mercy of the Lord. So this is explained to us in the Srimad Bhagavatam by Lord Brahma. And we find here Karna was completely opposed to this attitude. He used to blame everyone. And in fact, when Kunti actually comes to explain to him that, you are my son, he says, I already know that. And then she says that, if you, you are the one, actually, if you change, if you switch, if you go away from Duryodhan, then we can actually stop this war. We can avoid the killing of so many people, which is unnecessary. You leave Duryodhan, then you find that you'll be doing a great service to all of humanity. But Karna is actually, on the other hand, Karna, instead of listening to her, she starts actually blaming her. He starts accusing her, saying that you are the one who left me, who didn't take care of me when I was born. And then he starts again complaining about how the whole world had wronged him. Now we all know how much Kunti had to go through. Kunti had to go through, even though she was a princess, she was a queen, but she had to go through so much in her life. She lost her husband at an early age. She had to take care of the 5 children alone. She had to go through all the evil doings of Dhritarashtra and his sons. And her prayer was that, Krishna, let these calamities come upon me again and again so that I can remember you. On the other hand, we see Karna, who is her son here, and he is telling her mother that the whole world has wronged me, you have wronged me, and then he completely doesn't listen to her. And of course, but he says that at the end of this war, you will have 5 sons. You will have all the 4, and either Arjuna or me will survive. So that much, he assures to Kunti. Even Krishna, after the peace message fails, Krishna actually takes Karna separately, privately, and he tells him that you leave Duryodhan, come to the Pandava side, you are the number 1 Pandava, eldest Pandava, you will become king. And Yudhishthir and everyone actually will serve you. But Karna is also arrogant there. And actually Krishna explains that if you do this, we can again avoid the war and unnecessarily killing of so many people. Again, Karna doesn't listen to Krishna because of his pride and arrogance. So we see that Karna, even though he had great talent and charity and such other good qualities, because of his bad association and of his pride and arrogance and his attitude of blaming everyone for his plight, actually leads him to destruction. And we see that how Arjuna kills him during the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So these are some lessons to be learned from Karna's life and character. And we will stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or any comments? Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for your very quick summary. Thank you. Prabhu, it's like, especially in ISKCON, we hear so much that Varnas are based on guna and karma. But there are numerous examples, karna one of them, being that there is so much emphasis is given to his birth, to his janma. How to understand this? How to understand our emphasis on guna and karma and neglect of janma?
So your question is, how to understand the emphasis on guna and karma versus the janma?
regard to all of these examples and the
Right, right. Now, in the Vedic times, it was natural that the child of a particular parent would take up the profession of the parent. So if you're born in a family of carpenters, you'll probably end up doing carpentry. If you're born in a family of brahmanas, you'll end up doing puja and such activities. So the Janma does have some bearing on getting qualities. We get a lot of qualities from birth, and we also acquire qualities from our Sangha. So this is the one link, that how Janma has some link to the gunas. But guna means qualities are also acquired externally besides Janma. That's one point, the link. And about karma, again, when you are born in a particular family or a particular with qualities, you have a tendency or natural inclination to take up that occupation or activities. But again, because of association or because of other exposure, you get an opportunity to take up some other occupation, some other activities. So the point is that even though Janma or birth has a bearing upon both guna and karma, a person has freedom or exposure, opportunity to acquire additional qualities and additional karma activities based upon what he or she experiences in life and gets exposure to. So in the Vedic times, actually exposures were limited in terms of it was quite straightforward. There were no opportunities, or I would say, for speculation and diverging from that. And hence it was actually a very streamlined system. In the current age, when the whole topic of concept of varnashrama is not really followed strictly, there is an opportunity for a person to actually get positive qualities and positive occupation beyond what his janma allows him, or if somebody is not careful, one can go in the negative direction also. I have seen people who are born in a Brahminic family who come to US, come to other Western parts of the world, and they get friend circle, association of people who are sinful, and they change their born qualities. We also see people who are born in other circumstances, but they take up to devotional life, and they go away they actually elevate themselves from what they were doing. Was that useful? That probably help.
Hare Krishna. Just one aspect that you did not touch on, and that's the aspect of guru. Because it wasn't really up to the individual to decide. Although I'm born in a Sudra family, I really feel like a Brahmin. Generally speaking, the higher caste especially, they all had guru. And the guru is the one who noticed that this boy, even though he's the son of the king, he actually has Brahminical tendencies. So let's train him as a Brahmana. So really, the guru is the one who made that decision, and typically. And we heard earlier in this chapter that there were so many kings, actually in the previous chapter, 23, that there were so many kings, even though they were Kshatriyas, many of their sons became Brahmanas.
Right.
And so it wasn't that the boys were born and decided themselves that they wanted to be Brahmanas, but generally there's a guru who notices that this boy, even though he's the son of the king, he should be a Kshatriya, he has Brahminical tendencies. Let's train him as a Brahmana.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. Yes, Prabhu.
So, Prabhu, in this modern society, there are so many people whose character are like Kana, They are, blaming, the world is wrongly treating them. Mm-hmm. And they ended up, to kill so many other people, like the terrorists,
Right.
So what we devotee, how our devotees should deal with this kind of people,
Distribute books, give them, because they don't have proper guidance and knowledge, and they have bad association. And even the association books, there are a lot of books being published in this world which actually propagate these ideas, which help support these ideas. So when our books go out and these books come in the hands of those people, there is a chance of them to change, opportunity for them to reform and see the light. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for a very enlightening class. My question is that during the Varnashram era, as you were saying, a person of a particular caste, almost without exception, they would be born within that caste and take up that profession. Now, was that primarily due to Garbhadan Sankara, and was Garbhadan Sankara followed by all the different Varnas at that time? Do you know?
So, my understanding is that, like, actually this is based on current modern what I learned in schools, that from the genes, it's the DNA from the parents which actually biologically goes into the children. So Garbhadana Samskar, if you follow, we obviously get the right results. Even if you don't follow, the genes naturally get transferred to the progeny, and hence a lot of our qualities and abilities are coming through the DNA, the gene of the parents. Garbhadana Samskar helps in purifying the existence of the soul and gives an opportunity for spiritual upliftment. That's my understanding. If somebody wants to add. Yes, Prabhuji, I think you want to add something.
No, I have a question.
Okay. So was that useful, Prabhuji? Thank you.
Prabhu, in the history of the Mahabharata, while the Pandavas were under the training of Dronacharya in the archery, there was a low-class person who actually had the skill and ability to be better than the Pandavas.
Ekalavya, right?
Ekalavya.
Yeah.
So, it appears that there's some, like, no consistency with the, appears.
Yeah. So it means
the
how
Shastra.
did he get those abilities? Is that the question?
Yeah, so the question is that, it's like, wait a minute, you're saying in your Shastras that skills according to what you know, and this person is unfair. Everybody was watching. This is unfair. He was good. How come he didn't come to be trained? He was better. Oh, well, just let him be in. Now that's, pushing the caste. Those who believe in the caste system say, you guys, you are totally into the caste. So how can you explain that?
Yeah, so we have this historical from the Mahabharata that how Ekalavya was also like self-motivated, and even though he was not again admitted to the royal school, he figured out on his own, he learned on his own, self-acquired skill. So we have, again, there are not too many examples, but this is an example. And we understand that in those times, these were strictly followed just to ensure that law and order is maintained. So it was basically for the overall governance of society. Society, the bigger community, was considered more important than individuals, which I think sometimes makes sense, right? More than an individual, a bigger organization is always considered a higher priority. So with those principles in mind, these rules were enforced. That is my understanding. But of course, if you hear really, Ekalavya was not really a devotee. He was, again, an expert, a talented person. But he was like more like a demonic person in his heart than a devotee. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was just wondering if you could explain a little bit about, because traditionally the guru would give guidance to the student as to what varna and what ashram they should take up. I was just wondering exactly kind of how that plays out in our modern ISKCON society, because we have kind of like a different setup between the management and the guru system. I was just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit, like how they determine varna.
I am not qualified to speak on this. Maybe Prabhu, you want to answer this question?
Well, simplistically, you have Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru. That's simplistic. When someone comes to Krishna consciousness, they join in the temple. You have several Shiksha Gurus that train you, like the Bhakta leader can be a Shiksha Guru. He can train you how to become Krishna, what it means to be Krishna conscious, how to act properly, how to engage in service. And then, of course, the temple president's also there. So really, in the beginning, it starts out in that particular platform. But in order to continue on in Krishna consciousness, make advancement, one must take diksha, initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, and that way one gets linked up into sampradaya. And then that way that devotee becomes more and more involved and engaged in Krishna consciousness, and realizations come from that. And also becomes purified by that diksha initiation. So in a very simplistic way, this is how ISKCON survives today, by the Siksha Guru and the Diksha Guru principle.
Right. So this is a combination now.
Hare Krishna, just to add a little something to what Subhas Prabhu said, that the society as a whole has not gone in the way of strict appointment of Varna and Ashram. There's been more emphasis on the Ashram side. You can't be in two ashrams simultaneously in ISKCON. You have to decide, are you a brahmachari or a grihastha, like that. But as far as Varnas are concerned, we have not strictly implemented that. It's been more or less left up to the choice of the individual. But hopefully, again, as time progresses, the society will set the example of individuals taking a Varna and sticking to it. Because for proper running of society, that's recommended. But as far as the spiritual society is concerned, every individual should be ready to do anything that the Guru orders. You may be head pujari, but if the Guru says put it down and go wash pots, you have to do that.
Right.
If you're the best book distributor, but the Guru says I want you to now manage the temple instead, you have to do that. That's the spiritual society. It supersedes your Varna and your ashram, the order of the spiritual master.
Right. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagwan Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.